Steve was my favorite uncle. In 1971, when I was 8 years old, Steve suddenly disappeared from our lives.
No one seems to know where Stephen Bingham is yet, but today he was charged with murder. His grandfather was governor of Connecticut once and a U.S. senator, and 28-year-old Stephen became the lawyer who last saw the late George Jackson at San Quentin.
He was working with George Jackson, who was a high-level target because he was organizing in the prisons. Steve gets swept up into that and becomes a target himself.
There was a counterintelligence operation to get George Jackson killed.
3 white guards and 2 white inmates were killed, their throats slit. The warden's investigators suspect a male visitor who saw Jackson early yesterday somehow concealed the weapon and passed it to Jackson.
It is not an exaggeration to say if he went to prison, his life was in true danger.
You have to recall, we were living during a period where people were being killed all the time.
And then I get a phone call from Steve saying that there's some connection with him and he needed help. And so I contacted this woman and she produced a set of identification for Steve. He didn't talk about what happened and I didn't ask.
I had to invent an entire identity. An identity is not just a name and a picture and a passport. It's like, who am I?
There were people in the family that at least say that they never entertained for an instant that you could be guilty. I was not one of them.
On the advice of his attorney, Bingham declined to say where he's been living or what he's been doing the past 13 years.
Nearly 13 years later, he is ready to stop running.
A lawyer and a member of a wealthy and politically prominent Connecticut family reappeared today after 13 years on the run from the law.
Today, I return to clear myself of these charges and to begin to pick up the threads of a life interrupted many years ago.
The attack on Steve was an attack on all the radical lawyers that were helping prisoners.
Steve's decision to disappear was not an inference that he was guilty, but was in fact a decision to try to save his life.
We, the jury, in the above entitled case, find the defendant, Stephen Mitchell Bingham,